Hello, good morning students. Today I am here in front of you with my new video, that is lesson number 4 of your book The Enemy, written by Paul S. Buck. Before you read, it is the time of World War. Means this story is basically set up during the World War time. An American prisoner of war is washed ashore in a dying state and is found at the doorstep of a Japanese doctor. Now, the question arises, should the doctor have saved him as a doctor or hand him over to the army as a patriot? This is the conflict between the mind of the main character of this story. The main character of this story is Dr. Sadao, who was a famous Japanese surgeon and scientist, well-known scientist. His house was on a spot of Japanese coast where as a little boy he had often played. It was set upon rocks. It was well above a narrow beach that was outlined with bent pines. There were some little islands near the Japanese coast. Sadao's father often took him to those islands. There, he would point towards the islands and say, "Those islands yonder, they are the stepping stones for the future of Japan. It depends on us what we make of our future." Sadao's education was the chief concern of his father. He never jogged or played with him. He worried about his education only. When Sadao was 22, he was sent to America to learn all he could of surgery and medicine. In America, Sadao lived at the house of an American professor. A few other foreign students also lived there. The rooms here were very small and the food also was not good. Moreover, the professor's wife was very voluble. But Sadao continued to live there because here he met a Japanese girl named Hana, who later on became his wife. The two fell in love but did not marry heedlessly in America. Sadao's father would never have accepted her unless she had been pure in her race. After finishing their studies, they came back to Japan. When Sadao's father saw Hana, he at once agreed to their marriage. The marriage was arranged in the old Japanese way. Sadao and Hana lived in a perfectly happy life. Now they had 2 children, but their love for each other was as warm as ever. Sadao often wondered whom he would have married if he had not met Hana by chance in America. One night when Sadao, from here the real story begins. One night when Sadao came home, his wife opened the door and smiled affectionately. It was at this moment that both of them saw something black come out of the mist. It was a man. He was flung up out of the ocean. He staggered a few steps and fell down on his hands and knees. As shown in the picture here, he crawled a little and fell on his face and lay there. Both Sadao and Hana went running quickly to where the man lay. The man lay motionless with his face buried in the sand. "The man is bounded." Immediately, Sadao exclaimed. The sand on the one side of him had already a stain of blood soaking through. He had an old cap on his head, and his wet clothes were in rags. Sadao turned the man's head. They saw his face. "A white man," Hannah whispered. Yes, it was a white man. The wet cap fell away, and there was his wet yellow hair. Upon his young and tortured face was a rough yellow beard. He was unconscious and knew nothing what they did for him. Now Sadao remembered the bomb. With his expert fingers, as he was a well-known surgeon, he began to search for the bomb. The blood flowed freshly at his touch. On the right side of his lower back, there was a gun wound that had reopened sometime not many days ago. The man had been shot and had not been tended. Sadao pegged the wound with the sea moss that strewed the beach. The man moaned with pain in his stupor, but he did not awaken. "The best thing that we could do to put him back into the sea," Hannah said, "because he was an enemy. If we sheltered a white man in our house, we should be arrested, and if we turned him over as a prisoner, he would certainly die," Sadao said. "What is he?" Hannah whispered. "There is something about him that looks American," Sadao said. He took up the battered cap. It wore the words U.S. Navy over it. "He is a sailor from an American warship. He has escaped," Hannah said softly, "and that is why he is bounded." "The strange thing is," said Sadao, "that if the man were whole, I could turn him over to the police without difficulty. I care nothing for him. He is my enemy. All Americans are my enemy. But since he is bounded, you cannot throw him back to the sea also," Hannah said. "Then there is only one thing to do. We must carry him into the house." "But the servants?" Sadao inquired. "We must simply tell them that we intend to give him to the police. We must think of the children and your position first. It would endanger all of us if we did not give this man over as a prisoner of war." "Certainly," Sadao agreed. "I would not think of doing anything else." Thus agreed, they carried the man into the house. This is the first part of the story, that how they find an enemy soldier in a bounded state, in a dying state, and how they decided to took him to their house to provide him first aid and then to hand over to the police as a prisoner of war. Later part of the story we will discuss in second part.